So during a recent parliamentary meeting, serious questions were raised about how SMU hires its staff. Patriotic Alliance MP Ashley Sauls led the discussion, focusing on whether the university is giving too many jobs to foreign nationals while overlooking coloured South Africans. The debate sparked a heated exchange, especially when the university's chief financial officer, Amos Manyawi, was asked to explain his citizenship and national loyalty. Ashley Sauls, a member of parliament from the Patriotic Alliance, questioned the leaders of SMU during a meeting in parliament. This meeting was part of a briefing to the Portfolio Committee on Higher Education and Training. Sauls focused on the university's hiring process, especially the way it hires foreign nationals. He also raised concerns about coloured South Africans being overlooked when it comes to job opportunities at the university. So one of the main people questioned was the university's chief financial officer, Amos Manyawi. Sauls asked Manyawi to explain what country he belongs to and where his loyalty lies. This became an important part of the discussion, as Sauls wanted to know if Manyawi still sees himself as Zimbabwean or if he now considers himself fully South African. And Manyawi responded by saying that he did not give up his Zimbabwean citizenship. He said he is proud to have dual citizenship, both Zimbabwean and South African. He still has his Zimbabwean ID and never renounced it. He explained that Zimbabwe allows people to become South African citizens while still keeping their Zimbabwean citizenship. So he is now legally a South African through naturalization. Even after hearing this, Sauls wasn't satisfied. He pushed Manyawi to say more clearly which country he identifies with the most. Manyawi replied that he considers himself South African. He said he travels using a South African passport and that he became a naturalized South African when he was a child. He added that he has lived and worked in South Africa for most of his life, and all of his children were born in the country. But Sauls disagreed with how Manyawi described himself. He told Manyawi that he should not shy away from saying he is Zimbabwean. Sauls argued that Manyawi should proudly say, "I am Zimbabwean, and I am also a naturalized South African citizen." He said it sounded like Manyawi was trying to hide his Zimbabwean roots and that people in Zimbabwe would be watching and might not be happy to hear that. Sauls insisted that there's no shame in being proud of your country of birth. Later, Manyawi was asked if he thinks it is fair for Zimbabwe to give jobs first to people born there. He answered yes. He said it makes sense for Zimbabwe to look after its own citizens first when it comes to jobs. This showed that even though he lives in South Africa, he still supports Zimbabwe's decisions to prioritize jobs for Zimbabweans. This part of the discussion highlighted the bigger issue of how countries treat local versus foreign workers. Now, later in the discussion, Manyawi was asked whether he believes it is fair for Zimbabwe to give job opportunities first to people born in the country. He responded by saying yes, he believes it is the right thing to do. He explained that it makes sense for the Zimbabwean government to prioritize its own citizens when it comes to employment. His response showed that even though he now lives and works in South Africa, he still supports Zimbabwe's policies. This part of the conversation brought attention to the broader issue of how countries handle employment for locals versus foreign nationals.
CFO, where are you born?
Through Chair, I was born in Zimbabwe, in the Midlands province, but I'm a naturalized South African citizen. Thank you.
In your place of birth, would you expect the Zimbabwean government to prioritize jobs for Zimbabweans by birth?
I don't know if it's fair for me to answer that question. I'm conflicted. I do not to answer you, but I thought maybe that question would have been directly.
Why would you be conflicted? You are born in Zimbabwe. I'm sure you are proud to be born in Zimbabwe.
I'm naturalized as a South African, Chair.
But you are born in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
And as someone born in Zimbabwe, would you expect the government in Zimbabwe to ensure that Zimbabwean citizens by birth are prioritized for jobs? That's not a conflicting question. What do you think, honestly?
I'm not sure if I should answer the question because I feel I'm conflicted, Chairperson. But obviously, I think
maybe see, but what you should do, calculate it this way.
Yeah.
Let me understand the conflicting element there. Why are you conflicted?
Can you repeat yourself, Honorable?
Why are you conflicted?
No, because I'm the subject matter. I did not employ myself. I was employed by somebody else. And I would expect that maybe those who employed me would have a better response than I would have. Zimbabwe has got its own rules in terms of employment. South Africa has got its own rules in terms of employment. They've got different priorities. Chairperson, I should indicate that I've been a resident and citizen of South Africa for close more than 20 years now. My children were born in South Africa, and I'm a South African. Thank you.
Okay, let's change the subject matter. Someone born, not yourself. We're changing the subject matter. Someone born in Zimbabwe, other than yourself. Is it correct for him or her to feel that the Zimbabwean government must prioritize them, not you, them, for jobs in their country?
It depends on their circumstances. If they have grown up, worked the entire life of themselves, whether they were born in the DRC and they worked the entire life in Zimbabwe, or their children were born there.
CFO, now you're changing the subject matter. That's wrong. What you're doing now is wrong. I indulged you. I changed the subject matter upon your request. Now let's talk about based on the question. Please answer the question. Is it correct for not you, a Zimbabwean that is in Zimbabwe now? Is it correct for that Zimbabwean to expect the government of Zimbabwe to prioritize jobs for them?
Zimbabweans. Yes. It's correct. It's correct. It's correct for the Zimbabwean government to prioritize jobs for Zimbabweans. It's correct.
Do you consider yourself South African or Zimbabwean?
Should I consider myself to be South African? I travel on a South African passport. Thank you.
You're no longer Zimbabwean.
The Zimbabwean constitution does allow for dual citizenship, so does South African. So I still hold my Zimbabwean ID. That's correct.
So are you still Zimbabwean?
Yes, I'm Zimbabwean by birth.
So why do you say you are no longer you South African?
I said I'm South African because
you should say
I paid allegiance to South Africa when I naturalized as a South African. All my children were born here except for one. They have studied here, so I consider myself to be South African. All my adult life, my working life, was spent in South Africa.
What you should say, CFO, is that I am Zimbabwean, because it sounds like you are denying that you're Zimbabwean. You must be proud to say I am Zimbabwean, and I'm a naturalized citizen of South Africa. As such, I'm Zimbabwean and hold dual citizenship in South Africa and Zimbabwe. But I am Zimbabwean. Because Zimbabweans are watching you. And are you now saying you are no longer Zimbabwean? You must be proud. You must say I'm Zimbabwean.
Chair, I did not renounce my Zimbabwean citizenship. I'm proud of my dual citizenship of both Zimbabwe and South Africa. I still hold my Zimbabwean ID. I did not renounce it. Zimbabwe allows me also to be a naturalized South African, and I've naturalized as a South African.
Are you allowed to vote?
I'm allowed to vote in both countries. Thank you.
How do you view South African citizens that are saying that jobs that they vote for is occupied by foreign nationals or permanent residents? How do you feel about that? Because now you must speak. I want to hear, do you have the patriotic South African vibe? Or will the Zimbabwean by birth creep in there somewhere? So as a South African, naturalized citizen, do you think that fellow South Africans is correct in saying that jobs should be prioritized for South African citizens?
I think the answer should be contextualized. I do agree with that sentiment. However, the context is we are a university. When we employ people at a university, we may also, from an internationalization perspective, consider foreign students, which is something that universities must strive to build.
Okay.
And also the international flavor